Welcome back to math. I know you love hearing that. Dividing fractions by a whole number. This is understanding division of fractions part 2, if you'd like to think of it that way. We have a half and we're going to divide it by 3. As you can see, we have a half right here, right? All right. What are we going to do to it? Well, we're going to divide it by 3. What does that mean? Well, we're going to draw 3 lines across it like this. And since we are talking about a half, here's our half. And when we're talking about dividing it by 3, we're really interested in what is this, just this one right here. That's all we're asking about, because this is our third. Okay? So this is our third. So we want to know what this one purple square is for it. And you would say, well, it looks pretty easy, Mr. McGuire. It should. What should our bottom number be for a figure like this? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our bottom number is going to be 6. That's right. And how many do we have? One of them, right. Now we can check this. Remember how we do our check? When we're dividing by 3, we have to turn that into a fraction. Remember I talked about 3 over 1 means 3 whole? Remember? Well, when we go to do the algorithm, we can do a half times 1 over 3, and that will give us 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is what? 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Is this the same answer as that?
Yes.
You're saying yes, those are the same, so we got it right. All right, let's go on to our next problem. This we have, what? A third, right? So we make our 1, 2, 3, our thirds. We're going to highlight one of them. And then, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to divide it into 2. So that means we're going to draw a line right there. Now, what do we need to circle? We're only talking about one of these 2, right? So we're talking about this section right here. Why? Because this is one of the 2, right? And this is our third. So we circle this one. So what do we have here? Well, we have how many items? 6 total. And how many circled? 1. Let's see if we're right. We have a third. And we're going to divide by 2. Remember, if we put a 1 underneath it, it's the same thing as that. Then we're going to do the flipping it over, right? And we're going to do the opposite activity, which is multiply. And 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. As you can see, we got the same answer. All right, let's change this a little bit. What would I have now?
2, 3.
So I better put a 2 over that, right? Now it just got a little more difficult, right?
Yes.
We have 2/3. Okay, what do we do when we have 2? We're dividing it by 2. We're going to draw a line across here, right? What are we talking about circling? Did we just circle the 1 here? No, we circle both of these. Why? Because that's out of the 2, right? Right?
Yes.
So that's why we're going to circle both of these, because it's out of 2. So, what's our bottom number going to be?
6.
Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't change that, does it? But how much do we have?
1.
Well, we have 2, right? 2, 6. Let's just check and see if we're right. Okay? So we have our 2/3. And I'm just going to go to the multiplication. And I'm going to put 1 over 2, right? So that's going to give me 2 over 6. Is that the same as our answer?
Yes.
Yes. So we got it right. Okay. Let's change this slightly, shall we? Let's leave the 2/3 there, but let's divided by 3. Okay? What are we going to do now? We're going to need to cut this up into thirds. How many of these are we going to circle? Well, we're going to circle a third of them, right? So what's a third of them? It's that. So what's our answer? Well, how many squares do we have total? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our bottom number is 9. How many circled? 2. 2 ninths. Let's check and see if we're right. Let's put the opposite sign, so that means we have to flip our right fraction, which is this. And we're going to end up with 2 ninths. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 3 is 9. Are we correct? We're right on both of them, aren't we? Nice. We have our box here. What should our number be for up here? What's our fraction? Our fraction is 3/4, right? And let's say I want to divide that by 3. Can we do it? Sure. So, what do I have to do with this? I'm going to have to draw in, I'm going to have to cut it up into thirds, right? So I'm going to draw 2 lines this way. Question, what am I going to do now? I'm going to circle what part of this? Well, I'm talking about the third, right? Talking about the thirds. So that means I'm going to circle, see, this is 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3, right? So I'm going to circle just this part here, because I want to find out what the third is, right? What one of the 3 sections is. All right. So how many boxes do I have total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or if we use our area model, we could say 4 times 3 is 12, right? Okay, and how many of these do we have circled? 1, 2, 3. 3/12. Are you with me? Could we make this one smaller? Could we reduce this fraction?
Yes.
You're saying yes, we could. And the only reason why I'm going to talk about reducing the fraction now is just because I think you got the idea on that. So we're going to circle 3 items each, okay? And we're going to see how many we get. How many is this? I've got 1, 2. I got another 3 here, right? And then I've got a 3 this way. So how many groups of 3 do I have? How many groups of 3 do I have?
4.
I have 4 groups, right? Of 3. And this would be one of the groups. So actually, 3/12 is the same as 1/4. You're going, how is this 1/4? Here's my question. How could I turn the 12 into a 4? Or how could I turn the 3 into a 1? Ooh, there's our clue, isn't it? How could I turn this 3 into a 1?
Divide it.
I could divide it by 3, right? So that, now what I want you to say at this point, once you know that this is our key, you say, what I do to the top, I must do to the bottom. What I do to the top, I must do to the bottom. So I'm going to divide the bottom by 3, and guess what? 12 divided by 3 is 4. So it actually works well, doesn't it?
Yes.
And that's what reducing is. What you're doing is that you're reducing by just doing that very easy step. Or you could do it mathematically like this. So you could draw it out and reduce it, or you could mathematically reduce it. Both ways are good. Okay? We'll do one more and then we can maybe reduce it if we can. All right, we have 4/5 and we're going to divide it by 3. What do we have to draw out here? Well, we have to draw out our fifths, right? So some of you are saying, well, that means you can have 4 lines here, right? So we have our fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of those are going to be shaded in?
4.
We're going to shade in 4 of them, right? So it's almost the whole thing, isn't it?
Yes.
So when we shade this in, 4/5, since 4 is close to 5, it means we almost have 1 whole. All right, and we're going to divide it into how many pieces?
3.
We're going to divide it into 3 pieces. So I've got 1, 2, 3. What am I going to circle? I'm going to circle one of the 3 pieces, right? So I'm going to circle this group, these things right here. So here's my question. What's my bottom number? Well, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 3 is 15. We're using our area model, right? And how many do I have in the circle? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my number up on top is 4/15, right? So I have 4/15 is my answer. Can I do this now as an algorithm? Yes. I have to put my 1 under the bottom and I can flip it over, right? You flip the right one over and do the opposite activity. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 5 times 3 is 15. The question becomes, can I make this smaller? Well, if you're saying yeah, well, let's see if we can do it. Okay? How many do I have circled? 4. So I'm going to be circling things of 4. Okay, I can circle this. There's another 4, right? Do you see one other 4?
Yes.
Yeah, on the bottom, right? Okay. Now, do I have 4 here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't. Do I?
No.
So this won't reduce. That's what that's telling you. You can't make it any smaller than this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because if we looked at our multiplication chart, we wouldn't see a 4 and a 15 on the same row or the same column. That's why we can't reduce it. Okay? All right, well, I hope that you understand this. If you don't get it, watch it again. Watch it as many times as you have to. I love math.